Welcome back to Coding Kaiju. GodotCon is returning. It will be held completely online this year. The conference will be free to the public and video streams will be available to replay after the event. The conference will consist of pre-recorded talks with an optional Q&A for each speaker. Right now we are in the call for participation phase. To quote the website, "We encourage anyone interested to send us a proposal for a talk, workshop, or any other format of knowledge sharing that you have in mind. We're looking forward to see any topic that relates to Godot in some form. You could showcase your project, talk about some nifty tools that you have developed, detail your process for game development with Godot, and so on." They recommend a presentation length of around 20 minutes with a Q&A afterwards, but if your presentation is unique, they are flexible with those times. Juan has posted a new update article detailing the improvement coming to the Godot 4.0 editor. The first one some of you may recognize as it's been backported to Godot 3.3 as well. Each sub-resource now has its own color to help you better distinguish which property belongs to which resources. The project settings dialog is getting a makeover. By default, most of the settings except for the most basic ones have been hidden. To access them, you will now have to enable this Advanced Settings button. The goal with this change is to not make Godot so overwhelming for new users. Godot 4.0 unifies the process and pause settings into a single menu. This allows for disabling of nodes in a tree fashion. This was one of the most user-requested features, as Godot allows for easily hiding nodes but not disabling them. One of my personal gripes with Godot 3 is that the default lighting is terrible, so this next change is very welcome. There will now be a preview sun and sky for the editor. With this change, you can import 3D assets into Godot, and hopefully they will look as nice as they did in Blender. This change is only meant for preview, so this default lighting will not be visible when running the game. However, they have provided a button that allows you to add the necessary nodes to your scene so that your game does have that default lighting. You can now set the default import settings for assets from the project settings. This is a welcome change, as the old place to do this was very unintuitive. There is a new 3D asset import workflow coming to Godot 4.0. Materials now have to be saved manually, with the option to save them as their own files. This makes it very easy to assign new external materials to imported assets. You now have the option to not import files, but instead, keep them. This is ideal for files that will be read manually during runtime, like CSV files. And lastly, asset importing is now threaded. That means assets are imported on multiple cores, and you can see a performance improvement of over 10 times on multi-core CPUs. Lambda functions are coming to GDScript. For those who don't know, Lambda functions allow you to write a nameless, compact function and store it in a variable. This allows for what's known as functional programming. It can be a little confusing to wrap your head around at first, but a large part of the community is very excited to see this feature coming to GDScript. Dialogic version 1.0 has been released. Dialogic is a plugin to create dialogues, characters, and scenes to display conversations in your Godot games. It's a very powerful tool, and now is the perfect time to try it out. Spindle is a modern, old-school action-adventure game where you are death, and you have to solve the mystery of why people are not able to die anymore. The game's Kickstarter will launch this spring. That's all I have for you this week. Be sure to like the video, and thank you for watching.